these two wings were built by Daniel Marot, the most important architect living and working in Holland, of the Louis XIV style. But they were decorated by Pieter de Swart, a court architect of William IV as well, who was a representative of the Louis XV style. And Louis XV and Pieter de Swart is what you all see here. Because in fact he built this house, and to recognize the Louis XV style is very, very easy, as I can show you now. Look at all this foliage. If you see architecture with the foliage winning from the architecture, then you know it's Louis XV. Everything becomes rather asymmetrical, and the whole house has the same style, which is also very rare. So if you look at, for instance, this motif, this rocaille, you'll see it here in the fireplace, but also, funnily enough, in the clock, which is also 1760, and in the paneling, and everywhere in the ceiling as well. And it's wonderful that Pieter de Swart not just designed the house, but also the interior. So it was a total work of art, and it's wonderful to show it here with William IV, who was called the Prince of Rococo. And even the wall coverings are 18th century, and you see the floral motives winning from everything else. It's still an architectural design, but the flowers are winning easily. And just compare them to the wall coverings in this room, a generation earlier, made by and designed by Daniel Marot. Look at, you can still see all the figures here. Parrots, a crest, and all these motives are juxtaposed, recognizable still, working together in one big design. And just compare it to this chimney, which is also a generation earlier, Marot, if you wish. Look at the motives here. They're still recognizable, and the floral arrangements are just crossing the line a bit. Wonderful sculpture added on the architecture. Same thing here. Ornaments very clearly visible with just a slight vegetation next to the architectural motives. Completely different as from the 18th century. And here we see the most important feature of the house for an architect, especially for Pieter de Swart, the staircase with the fantastic ceiling. It's really a Rococo ceiling. I think this is what he loved best, Pieter de Swart, doing almost a folly and displaying the pure architecture without anything else. But also in furniture, the differences between Louis XIV and Louis XV are very clear. A typical Louis XIV chair, William III, if you wish, Daniel Marot, end of the 17th century, beginning of the 18th century. And as I said earlier, look at the motives. They're still very visible. Yes, there is a floral abstract motive, but a very plain. Now, just one generation further, we come to this. You see, the layout is more or less the same, but it's asymmetrical, it's abundant. All the motives have won from the architecture. Very, very great example. Also look at the feet there. All the foliage was winning from the motives of the design. Same thing here. It's still a hoof, heavy, it's very, very light and very, very elegant, the 18th century. I think it's, in fact, the most refined era we've ever known. But if you see this and you see that, what then? What's the next move? Well, the next move is Napoleon. And look what Napoleon did. He made a chair like that. Very military, very sturdy, but also with great, great, great detail. And that, of course, is the Empire style, the Empire. Very easy to recognize, and a complete break with what's been happening in furniture and arts before.